The president's proposing a way to pay for his historic investments, reforming, making the corporate tax code more fair. He believes that the number of people, the number of companies that didn't pay taxes in the last couple of years is just insane, and most Americans would agree. We need to change that. We shouldn't incentivize companies sending jobs overseas. We can make changes in the tax code, and all of those things will help pay for historic infrastructure investment. So he believes it's responsible to propose a way to pay for it and to pay for his plan. The proposal today will be focused on investing in infrastructure, a historic investment in infrastructure. And as you noted in your rundown of the numbers there, it's more than just roads, railways, and bridges. It's also broadband. 1/3 of the country doesn't have access to broadband. It's also ensuring people have access to clean water, something that should be a human right in this country. So there are several components of this that will also be a job creator, but it's a historic investment that we're really excited about. Do they not think that we should invest in infrastructure, that we should do a historic investment in infrastructure? Do they think that the number of people who are out of work is acceptable? Do they think it's okay that 1/3 of the country doesn't have broadband? If they agree we need to address these issues, let's work together on it. Let's figure out how we can pay for it. I mean, that's how you get legislation done. That's how democracy should work. So we're open to having that conversation.
模拟实战对打，如何用空手道反制对手？随着亚裔仇恨犯罪上升，许多类似这所中国夏威夷柔术学院的防身课程，最近都变得超火爆。
Typical week, we might get a handful of inquiries. The past 2 weeks, it's been, I would say, quadruple that.
且不止课程询问度高，为了防范社区暴力，还提供免费的网上防身研讨会。
Self-defense is really not so much about knowing how to hurt another person. It's really knowing how and when to get out of harm's way.
另外，如果看到有人被攻击，纽约市警局呼吁立即拨打911，而非营利组织非暴力教育中心则建议分散对方注意力。
Distraction is a really nice tool if you don't want to directly engage the aggressor. They feel alone in this. And so if there are other New Yorkers that witness this, do say something, even if it's not directly to the aggressor. Just make eye contact and saying, this is really messed up. I'm so sorry this happened. Change that culture, if that makes sense.
Use your voice. And more than often than not, there are going to be others that agree with your sentiment, and that's when something can happen.
纽约州议会表示，虽然通过大麻合法化，不过依然有相关限制，包括40%大麻税收必须投资在有色人种社区，并且鼓励社区民众投入大麻合法化市场，且预估整套计划需要大约2年时间才能完全实施。另外，个人过去曾经犯下所有与大麻有关的犯罪记录也将被自动删除，并且允许个人持有不超过3盎司的娱乐用大麻，或不超过24克的大麻油提炼物，并且允许25岁以上的成年人可以在家种植大麻，但仅供自用。至于民众最关心的税收部分，预估未来每年将可为州府增加3亿5千万美元税收，并且在全州创造3万到6万个新工作。至于大麻销售税，目前则定在9%，地方税则可加收4%。
The virus neutralizing antibody titers, which is probably the closest thing we have to a surrogate for protection, was super high in the vaccinated group. So I think it's a likely a green light to move forward, to move down in terms of vaccinating adolescents 12 to 15. The bottom line is that by the fall, I think there's a good possibility we'll be vaccinating teenagers 12 and up. And for middle schools, junior high schools, high schools, it's really good news.
而另外一项好消息是，俄罗斯联邦动物卫生中心也宣布新注册了世界首例的新冠病毒动物疫苗，不止从4月份起就能进入量产，且是世界上唯一一款疫苗可以防止动物感染。另外，临床实验还可以追溯到2020年10月，并且研究范围包含猫、狗、狐狸、北极狐与雕等其他动物。值得一提的是，这将大幅度的避免大规模扑杀动物的情况再次重演。例如，2020年5月，丹麦就因为担心动物传播新冠病毒，结果被迫杀掉高达1700万只雕。 世界卫生组织最近公布一份新的120页报告，内容不只强调新冠病毒开始在地球上蔓延的时间可以追溯到2019年10月，也就是在中国武汉被发现之前，且根据病毒来源还提出了4种假设，分别是动物直接传播、宿主动物传播、冷冻食品传播以及实验室意外泄漏。且根据所搜集到的有限资料，来自宿主动物的传播，例如蝙蝠，目前的可能性最高。至于实验室意外泄漏，则被指为极其极端，不过却也没有完全排除。
Not saying that it was impossible, but not the one we would start initially going deeper into. Since this was not the key or main focus of the joint studies, it did not receive the same depth of attention and work as the other hypotheses.
世卫组织表示，调查将会持续研究所有假设与证据，来了解新冠病毒如何开始。
大家好，我是优优小主播 Alvin。美国的节日，让悠悠小主播告诉你，4月1号是愚人节 （April Fool's Day）。你有在这一天被捉弄过吗？还是你会策划一场捉弄身边朋友的活动呢？愚人节起源于1564年，法国采用了新的历法，将原来的元旦从4月1日改为1月1日。不过，刚开始还是有许多人一时之间无法适应，因此就会有人在4月1号这天半开玩笑的照样送礼和拜年，趁机捉弄并取笑那些健忘的人。久而久之，就演变成了一个专门愚弄人的节日。随着愚人节从欧洲传入世界各地，美国也成为非常爱过愚人节的国家之一。根据统计，全美有64%的民众都表示会在愚人节这天制定整人计划，其中有20%的人喜欢整自己的另一半，另外20%的人则是喜欢整好朋友。不过特别要注意，玩笑千万不能开过头哦，不然为了一个恶作剧得罪亲朋好友，就失去了愚人节的真正目的了。悠悠小主播 Alvin， 洛杉矶报道。